As we reported earlier, Oscar Pistorius, the Olympic Blade Runner, is free on bail in South Africa this morning, still charged with the premeditated murder of his girlfriend. And it appears the bizarre case will become a long-running media circus, one with a very distinct resemblance to the one that surrounded O.J. Simpson nearly 20 years ago. Terrell Brown has more.
The similarities are a bit scary. Two national sports superstars accused of brutal murders. Their victims, beautiful blondes. The lead detectives in both cases, a bit suspect, and the world is captivated.
You look at this and you say, how could somebody possibly script two cases with such eerie similarities, but we have them here.
CBS News legal analyst Jack Ford says technology has the potential to make the Oscar Pistorius trial even bigger than the O.J. Simpson trial he covered in 1995.
You might know the participants in the Oscar Pistorius trial even better than we knew the participants in the O.J. Simpson trial, because there's so many ways to learn about them. Now, if you think about the O.J. Simpson criminal case, there was no internet, there were no blogs.
Despite the difference in the countries, Ford says the trials will be similar as well.
The South African justice system, not terribly different from the United States justice system. We just saw a bail hearing take place. Oscar Pistorius got bail. O.J. Simpson didn't, but that's because, if you remember, the Bronco chase.
The pursuit of Mr. O.J. Simpson.
The defense for Oscar Pistorius is this was an accident. The defense for O.J. Simpson was it wasn't me, it was somebody else. But the core elements of the trial will be similar.
Either way, it seems the Pistorius case will be one for the ages.
We're almost 2 decades past the O.J. Simpson trial, and people still come up to me and say, what do you think? Was O.J. guilty or not? I think for Oscar Pistorius and for South Africa, it's going to have that same effect.
For CBS This Morning Saturday, I'm Terrell Brown.
O.J. Simpson himself jumped into the controversy this week, suggesting that South African police, quote, have it in for Pistorius. There are differences in the way this case will be tried before a single judge, no jury, but there are many more similarities. And joining us now on the phone from Miami is attorney Alan Dershowitz, a member of Simpson's Dream Team defense. Good morning, Mr. Dershowitz.
Good morning. I have to tell you, I don't think there are any similarities between the two cases. They have nothing in common whatsoever, and I think the media is creating a false analogy. In that case, it was a whodunit. In that case, it was a question of whether the DNA evidence suggested that he was the defendant. If he did it deliberately and maliciously. Here, this has nothing in common. Here he acknowledges that his bullets killed the young woman, and the question is, did he do it purposely or did he do it unintentionally?
Why do you think, Mr. Dershowitz, why do you think your old client, O.J., is speaking out on this at this point?
I have nothing in common with O.J. I have no idea why he's speaking out, and I have no idea why the media is making comparisons. It's very unfair, and it's very unfair to the public to make these kinds of comparisons. This is a very, very different kind of case, and the issue here is whether or not his lawyer did the right thing, for example, by putting forth an affidavit that got him bail. Now, remember that Pistorius is a sprinter, and this is a marathon, and he may have won the sprint by getting bail by putting in that affidavit, but the question is, when he has to cross the line in the marathon, the question is, will that affidavit help him or hurt him? If the affidavit is inconsistent with the forensics, this is going to hurt him down the line. But, if you persist on pushing this issue of similarities, you're going to misinform the public, as often happens in these kinds of celebrity cases. These cases have nothing in common, so just stop it.
I think what people are struck by, of course, is you've got a lead investigator in this case, in the Pistorius case, who it turns out has murder charges who've been brought against him.
That has nothing in common. Mark Furman is now the darling of Fox News. He's the go-to guy. He's a hero. This guy is a guy who is a racist and a bigot, and he has recovered. Both, it looks like just a bungling fool who doesn't know what's going on. There's no commonality between the police officers in that case and the police officers in this case. And the most important difference is here you have a judge, and there you had a jury. And in a jury case, you make very different kinds of arguments. In a judge case, you argue kind of rationally and carefully with a calculated way. In a jury case, you apply to the emotional. You appeal to the emotional.
Given that this is a judge case, Mr. Dershowitz, what do you think the outcome will be?
I have no idea. I don't know what the forensics will show. I think there were great risks involved in the defendant putting forward his case. If it turns out that the trajectory of the bullets are inconsistent with his story, if it turns out that the other aspects of the case, what was in her body, where the bullets hit her, where she was sitting at the time, he has to have been absolutely certain that his story was completely true if he's going to submit that affidavit. Otherwise, he's going to turn out to have been out on bail for all this time. And then if there's inconsistencies with his affidavit, it will be a knife that cuts both ways. The very positive that he got out of the bail will turn out to be a negative.
All right. Alan Dershowitz in Miami, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.